Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 228, our 2026 running back preview. And as always, it's my great pleasure to welcome back to the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How you doing today, Bernie?
I'm doing all right. I'm good. But before you ask, I haven't changed my mind about last week. I've just gotten quieter about being right.
Okay, fair enough. All right, guys, we got a big time show for you today. In this show, we're going to start up by catching up with the latest player news. We're going to break down that running back position and see who we have ranked where, including our surprise of the top 5, our new kids on the block, bounce back candidates, ambiguously ranked duos, old faces in new places, and of course, we're going to check on who we just can't quit back up on Wingback Mountain. But before we do any of that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, Bernie, I like to start these shows off with a little bit of a chat before we get into things here. I've noticed I could give you a lot of excuses why my brain doesn't work sometimes, but I noticed looking back at our shows here that I either forget coaches' names, players' names, say them wrong. Even after I ask you what's the name of that guy, you'll tell me, and I'll still say the wrong one again. So let's get this out of the way. I know his name is Ben Johnson, not Gus Johnson. It's D'Amico Ryans, the coach for the Texans, and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was the missing coach's name for the Saints that I could not muster last time. Do you have any thoughts on these particular coaches or any names that we might mess up as we move along here?
No, Mike, it's a lot of names, buddy. You're going to get a pass. It's August. There's a lot going on here. We have to do a lot of research. Our brain is now swinging back in. Got to oil the sprockets into football mode. It's okay. It's okay. I'm probably going to also get some names wrong. I might even get the player on a team wrong every now and then because I just can't keep up with it all. It's a lot. It's a lot. I hope our fans and our viewers appreciate what we do.
I do too. Thanks for being so gracious, Bernie. And you guys out there should be gracious too and cut us some slack. Okay, all right.
Oh, wait, Mike, you should just tell the audience. They're all Easter eggs. And if you catch the mistake in the name and you put it in the comment, you're going to win a prize, like a pat on the back or something.
There you go. Nice. All right. We've been holding off for as long as we can, but there's been some player news that we at least have to address so we can all, be on the same page as we move forward. Starting off, let's get right into it. I forgot the button. Let's get into some player news. All right, starting off with some bad news. Jaden Higgins, Houston wide receiver, was looking for a breakout second season. Unfortunately, has suffered a torn ACL and now going to be out for the remainder of the season before it even got started. Alvin Kamara is dealing with an MCL sprain and is expected to be out at least a month. Staying with the Saints, Jordan Tyson, New Orleans rookie wide receiver, a big time prospect here, is dealing with multiple hamstring injuries. He just keeps injuring him back and forth. And right now he's expected to be out approximately 2 months. And Breece Hall will now be out 2 to 3 weeks as he's dealing with a groin injury. But it looks like he should be ready for week number 1. That is yet to be determined. And earlier today, Sam Laporta, Detroit tight end, is dealing with a hip injury, but it's not considered to be long-term, although they're a little vague on the amount of time he might miss. All right, what do you think on these first group of players we mentioned here? Some of these are season-ending injuries, which are stink, and some are within that 3 weeks to a month and a half or so.
Yeah. Let's start with Jaden Higgins. He was going around pick 133. So the capital is completely gone. There's no salvaging that there. So really what you got to look for is Nico Collins. He's going to get a little bit more of a target share bump. Xavier Hutchinson becomes a real late round draft dart here. Tank Dell and Jalen Noel. These are names that people are going to chase, but both are working back from their own injuries. So don't pay up for either one of those. So unfortunate for Jaden Higgins, but it is what it is for him. Kamara, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Each end's going to be the story there, and we'll pretty much get into him in a little bit here. But Kamara, he reworked his deal, so he's 31. He said he doesn't want to play anywhere else. So this is starting to feel less like a season and more like a farewell tour, perhaps.
Yeah.
And he can't even get through August. So that's it for Mr. Kamara. Hopefully, we'll see him on the field at least one more time. Jordan Tyson, I don't know, 2 months puts the return near week 6. If he lands on the IR, I mean, that's at least 4 games. He's nothing, yeah. Let's just move on. Brees Hall. Brees Hall is who you really want to say. If the coach is saying, I don't think it's a big deal. That's usually the most reliable injury quote in football because there's no upside for lying in that direction. And nobody ever undersells like a torn ACL. So Brees Hall should be fine. Frank Wright likes throwing the backs. He's on a signed a 3-year extension. So he's good to go here. And who did you have after Brees Hall?
Sam Laporta. I've added that one after I sent it to you earlier. Yeah, because that happened today.
Yeah. Okay. So never mind. 23. I don't have anything on Sam. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving along. Well, so I would say in terms of just a couple of these guys real quick,
yeah.
More so, not so much for their injury. Jordan Tyson is a big time prospect, but with him being out, he's been re-aggravating these injuries all offseason. So even if he does come back, there's no guarantee he'll ever actually get back on the field at any full capacity, which means Chris Olave, who had a great end to the last season once some of the players got knocked out there, when he was the only guy, he had some big time numbers in that postseason run. And then also with Sam Laporta, right now, again, it's not earlier. It seemed like it was going to be worse than it was. The last report is not considered long term, but in general, whenever Laporta's out, Jameson Williams' stock skyrockets. So just keep that in mind. If Laporta's going to have any kind of long term issues, which is not explicitly the case at this point, but nonetheless, that's like a yin yang thing. When one guy's out, the other guy really does step up.
Yep.
All right, moving along here. Jeremiah Love was playing awesome. Looked like he was shot out of a cannon in his preseason debut, but he was in there one too many plays as he had a high ankle sprain. He's not expected to need surgery. I hate when these guys put out like, don't worry, he doesn't need to get surgery. No one asked. I didn't know he needed it. So that's just, I don't like when they put the word surgery in any kind of thing. But generally speaking, high ankle sprains, players are out 3 to 6 weeks, usually more than that 3-week range, with the next 2 weeks being slow to ramp up. With the season being about 3.5, 4 weeks away, he might be slow to start the year, but he should be back in time right about there. I'll let Bernie opine more. I'm kind of filling the time here. Sorry, Rashad White, Washington running back, also dealing with a hamstring injury. Again, not considered long-term, but just keep an eye on these fluctuating backfields. Christian McCaffrey has yet to practice, been held out for more than a week with muscle tightness. And Mike Evans sits out with quad injuries, comes back for a half of practice, and goes right back out with another quad tightness here. He is doing the ice pack ritual on the sideline. Let's just finish up here with San Francisco. We mentioned it before in our NFC preview, but just to put a bow on this one, Ricky Pearsall had season-ending surgery on his knee, and he's going to miss the 2026 season. All right, what do you have on this group of players, Bernie?
All right, Jeremiah Love, number 3 overall pick on a fully guaranteed $53 million deal, is going to get the ball. But this is a 4-back room with Tyler Algier, James Conner, Trey Benson. And LaFleur has said that he'll ride the hot hand. So Conner, he's got a foot thing. Benson's got a knee thing. They're both banged up here, which helps. But like you said, high ankles linger. So the risk of a slow weeks 1, 2, 3 in a committee here. So what are we going to do about that? You're still going to draft him. Rashad White, around 10 range in a full PPR probably. Ceiling capped by Krosky Merritt, who appears to have the edge as the lead back. White's path is the pass catching role here, 200 plus receptions in 4 seasons, which is not anything to shake a stick at here. But Washington added Stephon Diggs to the work. So the short intermediate stuff it's going to be very volume dependent here for Mr. White. McCaffrey, tightness. That's all I got to say. Tightness. We all know who he is. He's an aging guy. But he is who he is. You're going to get him. You just might not get him as high, but he might put up those big numbers again. Mike Evans, touchdown dependent, wide receiver 3 flex. better in probably the non PPR leagues if anybody plays those. So he's in a Shanahan offense that scores and he'll get red zone looks. But last year, 30 catches, 368 in 8 games. Never better than a wide receiver 11 in any given week. So by the touchdowns, not the volume. Oh, and you did Ricky Pearsall, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, not draftable.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What matters though is the ripple. So San Francisco brought in Debo Samuel back on a 1-year deal. Rookie Dazon, I can't even say his name, Stribling, now has a clear runway here. Stribling is the name for you in the late round list. I'm giving up my secrets, aren't I, Mike?
Yeah, well, we're gonna save those for the wide receiver show later. But yeah, you're definitely right on all those names and all the people to look out for here.
Yeah.
Moving along here, we have Emeka Abuka suffered a toe sprain. He's considered week to week at the moment. Last year, I forget what injury it was. It was an ankle or foot injury. I thought so. I could be mistaken on what it was. Lower body injury, and we thought he was going to miss time, and he didn't miss any time. However, once he was playing through that injury, his production went down into the basement. So I don't really know his availability. We're not there yet, obviously. But when he plays through, even if he plays and he's banged up, there's a chance he's not going to be as productive as we were hoping for. All right, Josh Jacobs. This one's very interesting here. Very vague on all fronts here, similar to another player we'll get to later, but he finally returned to practice. He's been dealing with a groin issue, but Jacobs is still also awaiting word on a possible league suspension as he had an off-the-field incident. I don't know the particulars. I'm going to just say this without being positive. Some sort of the domestic violence type thing. It's I don't want to make light of it. I just don't know all the particulars. So he's got that going on here where there's potential for a suspension. He's also banged up a little bit, although he has returned to practice. And Bo Stevie Nicks is expected to make his season debut this week in the preseason game for the Broncos. If you don't recall, he fractured his ankle in the late stages of the playoffs last year. So this will be his first game time action, even though it's preseason for Bo Nix off of last year's great season. And Malik Neighbors has yet to be cleared for contact, but there is optimism he will be ready for week 1. He's going to be a big-time question mark on our draft board and rankings. What do you have on this group of players, Bernie?
Okay, Egbuka here. He's the most interesting name on this sheet, I think, for us. Rookie year split in half, wide receiver 9 in PPR points per game through 10 weeks, wide receiver 72 over his last 8, with a week 6 hamstring. With that tracking data suggests cost him his top speed. I don't know about that. Obviously, if you're got hurt, you're not going to be full. So he's going around wide receiver 21. New offensive coordinator Zach Robinson has compared him to Cooper Kupp. But let's okay. Everyone's citing this collapse, right? I mean, I'm pulling this news from people that know more than I do.
Yeah.
But nobody's really mentioning that Baker Mayfield got hurt in week 12.
Right.
And the whole offense fell over. So sometimes the receiver isn't necessarily the broken one. It's the guy throwing him the ball. All right, moving on. Josh Jacobs. Ooh, this is good. The groin is a non-story. He's back. Green Bay has no real replacement behind him. Marshawn Lloyd has 6 career carries in 2 seasons. Chris Brooks. I don't even know who that is. Suspension risk is an actual variable though. And nobody can price it yet. So if you draft him, draft his handcuff is really all that comes down to. Bo Nix, solid QB1 with the rushing floor. And Denver added obviously Waddle. The caveat though is Waddle missed a week with his lower body issue. So what I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. Let's just move on past Bo Nix. Anything important about Bo Nix that I missed there?
No, just that he's finally getting back in the field. He should be ready to go, but I just want to make a note.
Yeah. Okay. And then Malik Neighbors. He's going in the first 2 rounds, and he should command the vast majority of New York's target share with Jackson Dart. So the risk isn't whether he plays. It's the snap count in September. So that's the real cost if your league's early weeks kind of matter. So we'll see. For a league that you get a lot of teams in the playoffs, you could sacrifice a couple early weeks and make it up on the back end, I think.
I will say, just to piggyback what you mentioned about Abuka, we did mention that in our, I believe it was the NFC preview, where it's like, Mayfield playing through injury mixed with Abuka playing through injury, and they both were not lining up. So like the bad throw was missing with a guy who wasn't running at full speed, and they really did tank their connection that they had. They had a great connection in the
Yeah.
first third half of the year, so it can be there. I would assume with health they'll be back, but now we're dealing with a Emeka Buka with a toe sprain here.
Yeah.
And then Malik Neighbors, I've been up and down all offseason. I'm like seeing that celebrity softball game where he could barely run around the bases to being he wasn't on the pup at all to start off the training camp. I'm going up and down with his availability, and because he's obviously a very talented superstar young receiver, but this injury is a big time injury. And honestly, the closer we get, the more I'm kind of slowing back down as other people are pushing him up the board. I'm kind of like, I don't know because if you come back too early, you try and rush it before you're really ready. Sometimes you start injuring other parts of your body.
Yeah, I got a fun fact here for you.
Yeah.
Neighbors, he said getting back on the field brought his soul back to life.
Okay.
He also spent time in the offseason doing IHOP commercials
I
about
saw that.
bottomless
Yeah.
pancakes for people who finished last in fantasy, which, given how his season ended, is either a great sportsmanship or the most pointed apology ever.
Very good. All right, moving along here to a couple of younger receivers. Mekhi Lemon, a Philadelphia Eagles rookie wide receiver, has been out for more than a week with a hamstring injury, but it appears to be getting ready to return sooner than later. He might have returned today. I'm not positive of that. As of this morning, he was getting ready to come back, but he hadn't as of yet. Parker Washington has been missing practice. Some suspect it's a mini holdout as Parker Washington is expecting or working towards a new contract. But all reports around camp prior to this last short absence is that he has been tearing it up and clearly from reporters, the number one option in the receiving room for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And oh my gosh, can you believe this? Hey, Keenan Allen is back, signing a 1-year deal to join the Indianapolis Colts. If you weren't aware here or not, it's the coach, is it Steichen, I believe? Steichen was one of the offensive coaches for the Chargers. That's why they brought Phillip Rivers. So now he's just bringing another one of his old players that knows his offense. And apparently he's already running with the ones after only being there for 2 days. And a side note real quick with Allen, he's only 48 receptions away from moving up to third all-time in most receptions for a wide receiver in the NFL's history. So he's going to be trying to get to that 50 catches this year at a minimum. Let's see. We'll stop there, and then we'll finish up with the Colts. All right, so there's a short list here. Mekhi Lemon, Parker Washington, and Keenan Allen's back on the field.
Yeah, is Keenan Allen and are Keenan Allen and Mike Evans an ambiguously attached duo?
Maybe.
Okay. Mr. Mekhi Lemon. For some reason, I want to call him Malachi. There's somebody named Malachi in the league, right?
There's a Malachi Fields for the Giants.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like looking at the name. I'm like, wait, did Mike misspell this guy's? No, this is a different guy.
First time I misspelled, I did put Malachi Lemon on one of the first sheets I sent you. So maybe that's where you got it.
Well, the opportunity here is enormous. A.J. Brown was traded to New England, obviously, leaving Devontae Smith, also nursing a hamstring, Dontavian Wicks and Hollywood Brown. Lemon posted the best yards per route in the rookie class and dropped 190 career targets here. But a rookie who's missed most of camp in a brand new Sean Mannion scheme is a slow starter here. Late round stash, maybe. Not a week 1 starter. Parker Washington, on the other hand, though, I believe is the most undervalued name in this whole batch. He put up 58 catches, 847 yards, and 5 scores last year, while Travis Hunter was hurt. And at least one local beat writer thinks that he leads the Jaguars in receiving this season. So the problem is the room. Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, and a healthy Hunter all need targets. So cheap upside play, not a lock, but cheap upside play here. And then Keenan Allen, man, I don't really have anything on it. Wide receiver 3, flex, maybe. I don't know. This is 14 seasons, oldest receiver in the league, and he's still the guy you can't set and watch. You set your watch to here. He's not going to run past anybody. He's not going to do anything exciting. But like you said, he knows the systems, and he's basically Mike Evans on this team.
Well, we'll mention why he might be why they even brought him to begin with the other injuries on the Colts, starting with Tyler Warren, who suffered a groin injury and is listed as week to week. It sounded a little more precarious yesterday when it first occurred. The updates today are that he should be fine in about a week or so. But Alec Pierce gave a huge contract in the offseason, then had the cleanup surgery. Well done. Had the surgery after you get paid for an ankle injury, or just clean up his ankle, in the offseason. But he's still in the PUP list, and they say he's getting close, like his spirits are high, but that just means he's not practicing still. So I think that Keenan Allen was signed prior to the injury to Warren, but Alec Pierce, he's working his way back, but being that he's supposed to be the number one and he's not ready to return right now. And Josh Downs is also, it's not on here, but dealing with some sort of, I think, a quad or a groin injury as well. So they just have banged up guys, and their new number one, Alec Pierce, is not on the field yet. So that's the reason I think of Keenan Allen. Finishing off our last three players here, Kyle Monangai is considered week to week with a knee injury. I'm sure Bernie's going to mention DeAndre Swift might get a nice bump with that, at least to start the season off. And this one is very similar to the Josh Jacobs news, but Puka Nacua is also dealing with a groin injury, and he too is dealing with the with NFL investigation and a possible league suspension related to some transgressions occurring in the offseason. He's had a really wild offseason. We'll see where he ends up here. And then Chris Bell, excuse me, I'm excited. Verklempt. Chris Bell was projected to be a round one receiver, but he dealt with an torn ACL at the end of his college career for the Miami Dolphins. Yesterday, he was activated. So the Miami Dolphins went from no receivers to some receivers, I guess. I don't know. But so what do you have on these guys here? The rest of the Colts receiving room here. Kyle Monangai, Puka Nacua, he's probably going to play and be fine, but there's a lot of question marks about a high-value player. And Chris Bell is just fun that Miami Dolphins have some good news in their receiving room.
Yeah, no change in the value for Tyler Warren. A week into late August is really nothing. He's a top-tier tight end one, given the target volume. Michael Pittman Jr. was traded to Pittsburgh, and Alec Pierce hasn't practiced all offseason. So Warren, Josh Downs, and like we said, now Keenan Allen are going to split up these passing targets here. Alec Pierce, like we just said, draft at a discount or not at all. Honestly, the ceiling is real. He led the NFL in yards per catch 2 years running. He hit 1,000 yards for the first time last season. So worst case is reserve pup on cutdown day, which is a mandatory 4 games, so like we all know. So something's not right here. So just keep an eye on that if you're interested in these Indianapolis wide receivers, which you should be because Daniel Jones is throwing them the ball. Kyle Monangai. He was the RB2 behind DeAndre Swift, coming off a 7th-round rookie year with 783 yards and 5 touchdowns. Legitimately one of the best backs in this class. But Roshan Johnson and Salvon Ahmed will get the interterm work. So Swift has a groin injury that they've been calling chronic. So Monangai is a stash, man. You stash him now, and he's going to be the handcuff with value when he gets on the field. Puka. The mechanics matter, right? The personnel conduct policy doesn't require charges for a conviction. So the league has no deadline to rule here. Von Miller's suspension landed October 1st in 2024. So the risk, why is that even in my thing here? Why does that even matter?
I don't know.
Yeah.
just to show that just because he makes it maybe through the first month doesn't mean this without it being closed. There's still a chance for a game
to arrive mid-season here. Okay. Yeah. He's an elite target when active, though. You're not drafting him, but you are drafting him for these unresolved variables. That it's not going to be an issue. Okay, Chris Bell, the deep league dart with the highest upside on this sheet, projected as a late first rounder before the knee. So I don't know. What do you think here? Miami traded Hill and Waddle and drafted 3 receivers. So the depth chart is Malik Washington, Jason Tolbert, and Caleb Douglas. So I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Dolphin fans. I know that's half of our viewers are Dolphin fans. Get in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about Chris Bell.
We're just trying to give you guys something out there. Something.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now it's time to get into our. Before we get into our mini segments here. All right, Bernie. I'm going to ask you. Last night, I went through and combed through and painstakingly came up with a new formula. I was like the Mike McDaniel with his beakers and chemistry set, trying to come up with a way to rank these guys. You don't have to go too in depth. We want to give all your secrets up, but
Mhm.
give us a generality of how you go about ranking your running backs when you do that.
Okay, so I know that we're not going to go through any sort of tier system, but I still build mines on the tier system because I'm not doing it just for the audience. I'm doing it for myself because
Right.
I play in the league. So I really use the league settings. I use things like mandatory running back plus one flex is an option. No negative points are off. So fumble guys like Stevenson, they get pumped up a little bit. 6 points for rushing, half PPR, all of these little nuances, unlimited acquisitions in the waiver wire pool. That's a bigger deal than people think. This is one of my little secrets here. That just means that you don't have to load up. The waiver wire, the pool it's going to be there. You can cycle through these guys if needed. Little things like that. You got tier one as the anchors, tier two is the secure starters, and it goes down the list like that. So stats, obviously, last year's stats, O line, that's a factor in there as well. There's a lot going on into the algorithm of my brain.
So generally just I put them in groups of just I have a feeling of how good players are in general, just to start with. Like
Mhm.
this is a
Yeah.
a group of this guy, a group of this guy, and then I start doing how I tie break it. And I've been a proponent of this strength of schedule. This is the first year I've actually done strength of schedule based on like how easy the team's schedule is in terms of wins and losses. Because
Hmm.
last year, for example, Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers had the easiest schedule in terms of how good the teams they were playing against.
Yeah.
And for running backs, especially, if you have a better chance to win more games, you have a better chance for running backs to get more carries. For running out the clock, putting away that last touchdown that caps off the 10-point lead back to a 17-point lead, whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I added strength of schedule for the team mixed in with strength of schedule for the running back, as the opponents gave up points to running backs the year prior. So I kind of have a little matrix across here,
Hmm.
the ease of schedule for the team mixed with ease of schedule for the position. And then also because the NFL now has an unbalanced schedule with 17 games over 18 weeks, every team's going to have either 9 or 8 home games, and the other half's going to have the opposite. But we only play through 17 weeks, which means everyone's lopping
Yeah.
off one of their games. So I wrote down how many home games they have. This is more for running back than other positions. If a team has 9 home games in 17 weeks, that means they have 2 more home games than road games during the fantasy season. And I bumped them up again for running backs, more home games, more easy games, and easier schedules based on how good the defense you're playing against, not just the team quality. Those are the tiebreakers in those groups. And I found out some guys I moved up that I would not have moved up just by looking at their name, and guys I moved down a little bit more than I wanted to. I had a couple guys I wanted to be in the top 5, and I'm like, oh, there's just too many numbers against you. I still like you, but we're going to move you down 1 or 2 spots. So I really spent a lot of time last night. We'll see how it works out, but I know it's a lot of information there, but I thought it was interesting to see how that broke out that way.
Yeah, so the audience is really going to get two different perspectives of rankings here. I might have James Cook at a certain spot, and you might have him 4 to 5 spaces off, and somebody's going to look at it and go, one of you guys is crazy, and one of you guys
Well,
might
that's a
be.
great tease and segue. Why don't we get into our first segment, our surprise of the top 5?
Not malfunction, Stephanie. Number 5 is alive.
Wingman Fantasy Football. Surprise of the top 5.
Here's Johnny.
All right, I kind of hogged it last time. I'll let you start. Who's the surprise of the top 5 for you?
I have Mr. Ashton Genty, and I have him as RB5 from Las Vegas here. Last year, Genty ran for 3.7 a carry behind a line that owed him money. And he's still your RB5 here. That's not a ranking. That's a leap of faith in most people's books here. But let me give you some reasoning here. Clint Kubiak shows up from Seattle's Super Bowl staff with an outside zone scheme that was basically designed in the lab for Genty. Tyler Linderbaum gets flown in to fix the interior line. Rookie Mendoza should keep the defenses from just teeing off. So what does that mean? That means the volume was never the problem last year. The blocking was. So Vegas just performed an off-season exorcism to get Mr. Genty in the top 5.
So in terms of feels, I totally agree with you. I love the Kubiak system. You know that already. I really wanted, I have him 10. So he's still in the top one running back, but he's one of those guys I was kind of mentioning before going in. I'm like, I want him at 6 or 7, 8, the worst. But all those numbers I talked about before, just to devil's advocate here. Again, there's so much to like, but then you look at some of the numbers and there's things not to like. They have eight home games, which is enough. Like I said, that's going to be even home games to road games here. But in terms of the team schedule, strength of schedule, they have the 26th easiest. So it's in the bottom quarter there. And the defense's strength of schedule in terms of points allowed to running backs, they have the second hardest schedule for running backs this year. So it's like they have a bad schedule, but I love the scheme. So that's why I have them down at 10. I still want to try and find a way to get them, but putting those numbers, I had to slide them down a couple spots.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. So,
all right, my surprise is the other way. After last year having a breakout season, leading the league in rushing, I still can't put James Cook as high as I think people want to put him. I have him down at 11th. Do I have James Cook? Similar to those numbers I just gave you for Genty. That's why they're right next to each other. The Buffalo Bills have the hardest schedule for running backs, the 25th easiest, or like the 7th hardest schedule for in terms of win-loss record, and they only have 7 home games in that 17 weeks. Again, knock off the little top here. Someone who should be a top 6 running back at worst. I put him down with all those situations there. I have him at 11. So James Cook's my surprise out of the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an unreasonable argument. I mean, I have him right where you said he should be, which is number 6. So I believe in that. So I don't see any big regression coming for James Cook. Not to drop him as far as you dropped him, but I understand the reasoning with your
adjustments
data,
there,
with your info. Yes.
So again, this is just a way, like, we're over the years of us doing this, we're starting to just get more and more. I save all these things so I have things to go back to. So this will be part of our hits and misses next year to see exactly where we lined up with some of these guys, because I really worked hard to find out where they should be, and it might be all for naught. It might just be James Cook's good, put him at number 4.
No, that's why I printed these receipts.
Exactly. All right. Do you have any other? We're going to talk about guys here, but is there anyone else that's interesting around that top 5 range?
Chase Brown. I mean, I have him pretty high up there. I got him at number 7.
Okay.
Everybody though in my top tier. I mean, I'll give you my top tier as of now. I mean, these two guys are interchangeable. Gibbs and Robinson, Jameer and Bijan. That's 1 and 2 for me. But then you know what? I'm going back to Old Faithful here. I'm putting Jonathan Taylor as 3 as of August, and McCaffrey at 4. So that's my top 4. Those are my anchors. And like, you want a running back and you got the top 4 pick, those are the guys you're going to go after.
I've got a guy here I'm going to mention in another segment that's higher than I would have expected here, but he falls into another category. All right, so let's move along to our next subcategory here of our new kids on the block.
This year's New Kids on the Block.
All right, we've got a pair of college teammates who are probably the top 2 running back rookies this year. Who do you have for some of your new kids on the block?
I have Mr. Jeremiah Love.
Oh, shoot.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
That's right. I have him at RB16 here. Number 3 overall pick. The Doak Walker winner. Had to look that up. Looked exactly like that in his preseason debut. 14 touches, 72 scrimmage yards. The whole, oh no, he's good experience. Then the ankle happened. High ankle
Yep.
sprain, done for the rest of camp. Arizona, they're really just hopeful that he's good to go for week 1. And even healthy, LaFleur has already told everyone Novak is playing all 65 snaps. You got Algier parked atop of that depth chart. He's like an X that just won't leave here. Great player, bad month. I would buy. I would buy at a discount here. That's where I have him, and I have got players like Kyron Williams, Cam Scadaboo, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams. I have these types of players around him in my draft order.
That is the same group. You said you had him 13 or 16? I'm sorry.
16.
I have him 16 as well. So we're on the same page with
Oh,
him
wow.
exactly.
Look at that.
And we had most of the same people in that tier there, Scadaboo and Javonte Williams. Yep, very good. All right. His
Who do you
his
have?
his
ahead.
college teammate, Jadarian Price, Seattle rookie running back here with not the absence, but the leaving of Kenneth Walker, the injury to Charbonnet, who's working his way back actually a little bit ahead of schedule, but not quite ready. All they have is Halani and maybe one other special team type style running back. Jadarian Price has a chance to be a surprise here based on some factors. I think I have him, pardon me, higher than I would have thought. I should have had that ready to go. What do you think about Jadarian Price while I find his spot on my rankings?
Oh, you know what? I don't even have him ranked.
I have him number 20. I have him number 20.
You have him that high, and I don't even have him on my list. Did I overlook somebody here?
Perhaps. Well, I'll tell you why I have him 20. There's a little bit of he's obviously the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I found him 26. Okay. Sorry.
Well, going with those numbers I was mentioning before about how I kind of move guys into certain tiers or the top of tiers, I have him in the same tier with Kinshawn Junkins, David Montgomery, Bucky Irving, and DeAndre Swift. He's the top of that tier, below the tier we just mentioned before with Jeremiah Love. But reasons why he's on top of that tier, 9 home games. They have the 4th easiest schedule for running backs and the 19th easiest schedule in terms of team. So a middle schedule for the team, but they're a good team. But the ease of schedule for running backs mixed in with the extra home game moves him up a little more than I would have thought so to put on top of, I think it's like my 6th tier if I have a lot of small micro tiers.
Yeah. I see where you're going here. I have him a little bit lower than you, but I have those same types of players around him. I think what do we have from him? Excellent vision, real, like legit cutback ability, breakaway speed. The weird thing was that the unofficial depth chart had George Halani first and Price second. And so I guess that's with the leg soreness here. Emmanuel Wilson has impressed though. He's going to be a short yardage complement. So with Charbonnet out, you got him as a good flex. I think a good flex option here with upside.
I was going to say one more thing about him, but I forgot what it was. But he just snuck up on me there with the injuries, the opportunity, and I mean, again, a good team that you expect to win most of their games.
That's exactly right.
I got one more rookie here who might be a quality handcuff to your surprise top 5. Mike Washington, rookie running back out of Las Vegas. Super fast. I think he was the fastest running back in the combine at like a 4.23 or 4, around a 4.3 speed, 40-yard dash in that range. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but he was the speedster of the group. Looked electric in their first preseason game with a 59-yard run down the sideline. So he's just an interesting guy, but again, as a backup to a team that doesn't have great numbers in terms of strength of schedules, but nonetheless, he's an electric running back. I think he's going to be on the field mixed in anyway with Genty. Not sure what kind of fantasy production he'll have without being promoted or an injury. I don't want to say the word injury, but having a chance to play over Genty. But he's just someone to keep an eye on as an electric rookie for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely. Big and fast behind Genty, like you said. I think he's one of the bigger ADP risers right now. But he's insurance. He's the biggest insurance policy right now for the Las Vegas Raiders here. I have him at 53, so he's pretty far down on my list.
I have him at 48 with that mix of a secondary handcuffs. So not the prime handcuffs, but he's the top of my secondary group of handcuffs.
There you go.
All right, our next, let's see, our next category here. Sorry, a little off here. We have our bounce back candidates.
Oh, you can't bounce the bounce if you can't even pronounce the bounce. Repeat after Tigger.
Wingman Fantasy Football Bounce Back Candidates.
But the most wonderful thing about Tigger is I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
All right. Sorry. All right. Why don't you start me off with your bounce back candidate for 2026?
T.I. double gut. All right, here we go. Ramondre Stevenson, RB30 for me. Everybody remembers the fumbles. Can't unsee the fumbles, but nobody remembers that he closed the year at 5.7 yards a carry over his final 8 games, second best in football over that stretch. And he took over 70% of the playoff snaps. And here's the fun part for our league specifically, Mike. Negative points are off. The one thing that made him a bench stash last year literally cannot hurt you in our league. He's listed first on the depth chart. He's the cheaper half of the 50-50 Patriots split, in my opinion. And he's being drafted like fumbles count for people in those leagues. So bounce back, or honestly just a market insufficiency wearing a bounce back costume.
Why don't you give me like 3 or 4 players around Ramondre Stevenson, if you don't mind?
Yeah, let's see here. We go all the way down to 30. I got things like Jonathan Brooks, Tony Pollard, RJ Harvey, Rico Dowdle, players like that.
Perfect. Yep. Similar guys. In that group for me, it's the best of the split backfield. We're not sure which one's going to get the most work. So I got like the Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdles, the Aaron Jones, and Jordan Mason types. Of that group, he's probably has the chance to be the best, but you just don't really know how that backfield is going to be split up this year.
Exactly. Who do you got?
My bounce back candidate, I'm going with Saquon Barkley.
Oh.
I'm not a Saquon lover at all. I've always found a way to try and lower him on rankings.
Even after that reverse hurdle, you're not a Saquon
he was
lover?
a Madden curse last year. I put him down. He was out of my top 5, and it was the right call. But that's why he's the bounce back candidate this year. You want to guess how high I have him?
You have him at 4. No, you have him at 8.
You just said 5 numbers. I'm
8.
I have him at number 3. Number 3.
I was right. I was right. 4. I was almost so close.
I know.
Number 3.
You kept going.
What?
I have at number 3, right behind the Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. Again, those are micro tiers. He's in with Christian McCaffrey, but ahead of McCaffrey. And the reasons are as follows. They have the 5th easiest schedule for running backs, 10th easiest schedule in terms of the team, which means they're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to have easy defenses to do that against. And they have that extra home game, that 9th home game with top 10 schedules in both positional and team strength of schedule. Just moved him up the board, and I think he's going to be a discount. Would I take him that early in the draft? He's one of those things I'm going to hope he makes it to the end of the first, probably more likely the second. But he's going to be glowing at me. I'll be smiling when it comes down to that 15th pick, and Saquon Barkley's still on the board.
Yeah, I have him at number 11, bud. Listen, I get it. I mean, technically, that's a bounce back number for me.
Yeah,
But
he was
I don't-
14th last year, so yeah.
Yeah. But I just can't imagine looking at the board and seeing Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley and not taking Jonathan Taylor, even James Cook over Saquon Barkley, McCaffrey over Saquon Barkley. I don't necessarily think they're going to be leaps and bounds better than him. It's just Philadelphia in general, new offensive coordinator. We really don't know what's going to happen with this whole tush push. He's not going to get any goal line looks. He's good. Okay, so I heard this stat and I didn't write it down because I heard it while I was in the car. But last year he had like one of the lowest.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Inside the 5, he had like 15 carries and like 1 touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, no. This was breakout runs. The year before last, when he had the big season,
Right.
it was a crazy high number, like I think like 17 or 22% of his runs were like breakout runs, like 53-yard runs.
Right.
You know, last year it was like 9, 7. You know, like I think 12 might have been the biggest breakout run. It was such a small dosage compared
Yeah.
to the year before. So I don't see Philadelphia doing that again, though. So that's my only concern. He's talented, but I think the team is the handcuff here.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. Like I said, just the combination of a discount and
Mhm.
schedule and stuff. I don't think he's gonna be the third running back off the board. I think he's gonna be a steal.
No. That's what you just said.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
You
fair
have
enough.
him right. You have him as RB3, dude. You
No, I
think
know.
he's gonna be the
He'll be my third running. Whatever. Yeah. Other people won't take him as number 3. Okay, fair enough. All right, guys, it's now time for our next segment here. Our first time this year, letting you in on our ambiguously ranked duos. The ambiguously ranked duo. The ambiguously ranked duo. On draft day, I don't know which one to take. These two players are comparably ranked. They're extremely close in an ambiguous way. They're ambiguously ranked. They're ambiguously ranked. The ambiguously ranked duo. The ambiguously ranked duo.
Which of you two is the better receiver?
Well, Gary is definitely the best catcher. What? Nothing! The ambiguously ranked duo. If it's not clear, the ambiguously ranked duo are where we have two players on the same NFL team that are ranked so close together that we have to decide which is the better value of the two here. I believe I have 2, you have 1, so I'm going to go first here, Bernie. I've got Jaylen Warren and Rico Dowdle for the Pittsburgh Steelers back-to-back. It just all depends on who's going to get the carries here. They're both similar types of backs here. I believe Jaylen Warren, who was more of the running downs back, while Kenneth Gainwell last year was the passing down back. But with Rico Dowdle here, Jaylen Warren might slide over to that more passing down role between the two. And Rico Dowdle is such a power runner, especially down the goal line here. With monster games when he gets opportunities, he's kind of like he blows up for a few weeks a year and then kind of settles back down. So I have at 31 and 32, Warren and Dowdle respectively. What do you think on these two guys, and how close do you have them rated together?
So Rico Suave, I have at 32, and Warren, I thought I had him fairly close to him, but it doesn't look like I do. Man, you know what? I need to put this in an Excel spreadsheet so I can search it. I
That's
don't know.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't even know where I see Warren right now.
Well, we both have Dowdle in that 32 spot. So every once in a while we have these things lined up, on the same ledger here.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be the guy? I mean, really, when it comes down to it.
Oh, Warren, I have at 25. I'm sorry, I see.
Okay, that's fine. Yep. So you have Warren. They're close, but a few steps higher.
Yeah.
Is this a backfield you're trying to avoid, or you're trying to get out of value, or what's your thought here? It's such a question mark. It's hard to decide.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think about Pittsburgh right now. But I do think I do think that they're going to be a good team as far as rushing goes. I honestly, I'll be straight up with you. I tend to stay away from these 50-50 committees.
Right.
Like I know I just talked a lot about Ramondre Stevens having his bounce back year. But it's the 50-50, it's just such a headache come Sunday when you're watching and you're just like, just put him in. Why are you taking him out? Put him in. I don't want anything to do with that. But if I had to, I think I would go Warren over Rico Dowdle.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Who do you have as an ambiguously ranked duo?
Okay. A team that I think really appreciates the running game, and it doesn't matter who's there. RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, respectively, 31 and 36 is where I have them, so 5 spots apart. They're the two closest on my board, honestly, and it's a coin flip if you want either one of them. Harvey, he's made for this offense, pretty much. He's a proven pass catcher. He's got a nose for the end zone, which is exactly what a Sean Payton offense wants, especially in a half PPR league like we play in. It's good to go. Dobbins is the starter and early down guy right now, but he's back practicing after a camp issue. And when he's actually on the field, he produces everywhere he's ever played. So the key word there, though, is going to be when he plays.
Right.
But here's the twist I have here. Um, Even if it's a Dobbins injury, doesn't just hand PJ Harvey. Is it PJ Harvey? I just made that up.
RJ Harvey. Yeah.
RJ Harvey. PJ Harvey's a singer. Um, okay. It doesn't just hand Harvey the backfield outright because Sean Payton famously uses the whole backfield or the
Right.
whole running back room. And then so that puts Jonah Coleman, the rookie, standing right there to steal the touches. So really, it's not really a two-man ambiguous duo. It's more like a three-man ambiguous trio wearing a two-man costume. So draft one, watch all three, and keep that popcorn ready, bud.
Yeah, I got them at 39-40. I have them back-to-back as well. I got Harvey ahead of the two, but they're just together.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Jonah Coleman factor did put them down on my board instead of being the 30 range down to that 39-40 range.
Yeah.
I do have one more, which was they were on our list last year, and I don't know if anyone got this right. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Once again, we have a little bit of a issue here with the Vikings backfield. Jordan Mason's getting all the reporters buzz, but I watched that preseason game, and Aaron Jones was getting the first team reps mixed in with Mason, but they weren't shying away from Aaron Jones. And being that he's such an aged running back, for him to get any carries in the preseason with the first team makes me think that he is the starting running back for that team.
Who, Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, I got Jones at 30 and Mason at 35.
Okay, this one I have pretty far off here.
Yeah.
I mean, not too crazy far off, but I have Jordan Mason at 38, and I have Aaron Jones at 47.
Okay.
Now, Aaron Jones still in the, put him on my bench, maybe a good matchup play. He did not drop to like the handcuff lottery ticket tier, but he's right there on the cusp of it. Yeah, I just don't trust the aging Aaron Jones. I don't know. Remember who's going to be running the quarterback
Kyler Murray
game here? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm staying clear of Minnesota running backs.
That's a fair assessment. They're just close together in my opinion. It's always like you said, if you have two guys that are close, it's like if you have two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
If you got two running backs close together, you have none.
Exactly. But yeah, right. So mine's a little further off than you on that, but still good.
All right. We're running a little behind, so we're going to try and go through these next couple a little faster here. We got a couple more segments here. Let's got our old faces in new places.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Welcome to the team. Who are you? Where am I? Get this man a helmet.
Old faces, new places.
I'll say hello, my darling.
All right, Brittany, I'm just going to run through these kind of quick, and you can add on to whatever you want from these guys or add other players as well. Okay. I'm going to start with Tyler Algier moving from Atlanta to the Cardinals because he's easy and quick here. Right now, with the injury to Jeremiah Love here, he might be the main guy. We also saw what he did to a rookie Bijan Robinson, and even second year, as he is quality player who's going to get some vulturing touchdowns at very least, if not take some drives over himself. But he is going to be a split in the backfield and not someone you could really draft as a main player, but is definitely someone who's going to be on the field with some value. I got Travis Etienne here moving to New Orleans. Not really that old, but moving along here. And surprisingly, I'm just going to comment a little bit here. He was one of those guys who was higher than I thought he would have been based on all those factors I mentioned before. The New Orleans Saints have the third easiest schedule for running backs and the second easiest schedule for the team with 8 home games, so not a knockoff there. So they've got one of the easiest schedules for the team and running backs. And with the injury to Alvin Kamara that we mentioned earlier, I was surprised how much that bumped up Etienne for me. I just lost him. I have him at 15. Right above Jeremiah Love. And we have David Montgomery moving from Detroit to Houston. He looks like he's going to be the main back here, just dealing with the incumbent Woody Marks, who's already a secondary back for that team. He takes over the Joe Mixon role from 2 years ago and what Chubb was supposed to maybe be last year. He's going to be the lead back on a team with a great defense, so he's going to be part of a ball control offense and potentially a very quality pick. And where do you have David Montgomery while I look him up real quick?
I have him at RB21.
I'm at
Yeah,
22. Yeah.
yeah, new building, same job. D'Amico Ryan, he wants to run it. And behind that defense that allowed the fewest yards in the league last year, well, which means positive game scripts, like you said, all season. But remember, Woody Marks is going to siphon off the third down work. And Monty's body has a "Please be gentle with me" sign on it because he's only missed 9 games in 7 years. So the volume and touchdown roll thing is real, and the price hasn't really caught up to him yet.
If the draft went that way, would you be, obviously you'd want someone better, but would you be okay with Montgomery being an opening day starter on your roster?
Ooh,
As like a backup plan, like I didn't get who I wanted. I went receiver heavy, but I got this guy in the fourth, fifth, whatever round, and I can put him in to start with.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got people like Echan, Judkins, Tootin, and Bucky Irving around him, so I would be okay starting Montgomery if all else fails.
Gotcha. All right, we're gonna move on to our next one because we got a lot to talk about in this one. We got going to our Wingback Mountain.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
I wish I knew how to quit you. Why don't you?
Wingback Mountain.
All right, Bernie, I'm going to start with mine and just do it real quick here. I got Josh Jacobs. He's been on my team 2 of the last 3 years, 2023 and 2024. In 2023, I picked him as the 8th running back off the board, but finished 27th in a down year with 13 games played. But the following year went right back to him as the 10th running back off the board, and he finished 5th. A great value there with 17 games played. He's on that every other year. This past season, he was drafted around, 4, 5, or 6 or 7 and finished 12th. So he's bound to maybe bounce back, but he has a lot of question marks in terms of injury and or discipline. So what do you think about Josh Jacobs real quick? Is he looking to bounce back, or are these question marks really things to worry about?
No, really things to worry about. Last 2 years, RB8, RB10. I have him as 27 right now. So
Oh, wow.
I am concerned about Josh Jacobs.
So you put him in a place where, like, I'm not going to get him. Let someone else take him. If he's there at 27, you got a value.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, who's your person you can't quit on Wingback Mountain here? I think we all know this, but let's just get into it.
Mr. Kenneth Walker the third, RB9 on my list for KC. And you know the drill by now. We don't choose Wingback Mountain. Wingback Mountain chooses us. And this year it's Kenneth Walker in Kansas City. And yes, I'm aware of how that sentence sounds here. Forced 61 missed tackles, hit an explosive run on nearly 15% of his carries, ran the "why is this guy still available" gauntlet. And the Chiefs just paid him 3 years up to $45 million. And they agree. Somebody agrees with me for once. Eric Bieniemy's back running the offense. Mahomes is still Mahomes, and I will once again roster this man in every league I'm in, which is just this one, and ignore all the warning signs and defend it on this podcast until one of us is right.
I am so conflicted with this player. Let me just give a little context here. So you've had him 3 straight seasons, 23, 24, 25. You picked him at number 18 in terms of running backs. He finished 20th. You picked him at 13th in 24, finished 28th. Last year, you picked him at 15th. He finished 22nd. So every time he's finished behind the value of the draft. But last year, I said going in, this is a make or break because he had the Kubiak offense, the zone, outside zone run scheme, which we all love, or I love. And the Seattle run game was amazing, but it was split down the middle between 2 players, Charbonnet and Walker. Meaning to me, Walker can't handle it on his own or was in a doghouse of some kind. But in the playoffs, when Charbonnet got hurt, Walker was the Super Bowl MVP, dominating. Yeah. So it's like he can't do it, but when he gets the opportunity, maybe he can. Now he goes to a new team with some question marks because there's some things that have changed in terms of his team he's with and style and stuff. But he is the only back in town, which is when he performed his best at the end of the playoffs last year. The schedule's not good for him. He's let us down so many times in terms of value, but like that spike in the playoffs last year, and the contract you mentioned just is like, I could see this going in completely opposite directions. I have no confidence in where to take Kenneth Walker.
No. And even if I think RB9 and he comes in at the end of the season at RB15 or 17, I'm still happy. He's
there's
the one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the one roller coaster ride on Seattle with Charbonnet, like you said, that really did like cement the I don't want to deal with a backfield with
Oh,
two.
right.
You know, it's like, come on.
You had them both last year, and you never failed because they both kind of split, but Walker was always capped because they'd bring in Charbonnet for those touchdown runs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's interesting. That's just a big time. So I have him 19. Before we get out of here, because there's a lot of guys we didn't talk about today.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about, for me, it's my third tier only because they're so small. 5, 6, 7. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor already, so I have Taylor at 5th. This is the player I actually want even higher, but the schedule, Amari Hampton, I have at 6, and Derrick Henry, the ageless one, at 7.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Henry's not too far off. I have Henry at 10, but I have Amari Hampton. He starts my RB1 path at a discount tier at 12. So they're not too far off, but definitely not in the top 10.
Yeah. The schedule's not great when I do those things, but again, that Shanahan, Mike McDaniel running offense. Raheem Mostert at 32 years old had 18 rushing touchdowns for the Dolphins in a team that wasn't that good. So what can Amari Hampton do in an offense that could be better with all last year? They did okay, but honestly, they were struggling. The struggles they had were because of offensive line injuries. Most of their guys are back. I think they had one injury this last couple of days, but the 2 outside tackles are back.
Yeah.
So they have an improvement just from internal improvement. And Hampton, when it comes to rookies from the year before, I don't really take into account what they did in college because just the college systems are totally different for running backs. I need to see him. And once I saw him come back from the injury in the second part of the year, he looked awesome. And all reports are in camp that he has just been a stud running over guys. You get that mix of power and speed in his outside zone running scheme here. He's got a chance to be a superstar stud.
Yeah, but okay, so he's the biggest of the 3, right? He's bigger than Vidal and he's bigger than Keaton Mitchell.
Right.
But McDaniel likes these little shifty guys. So that's my only concern here with Amari Hampton, because I am all in on Los Angeles Chargers. If you can get a piece of the Charger offense on your team, get it. But I think Vidal and Mitchell are going to eat too much into Hampton to make him a true like RB1 on that team.
Couple other tiers. I'll let you lead off a tier here of guys that we didn't talk about, a good chunk of them.
Which ones? Which you want to go down?
I can go. So how high do you have Devon Achane this year? They've got a lot of change in their offense. He's been a superstar, but you needed to get a lot of checkdowns from someone like Tua. I don't know how their offense is going to do this year.
He's in the top 10.
He's in
the top 10. Yeah, he's a number 8 for me. He's going to be good. You know, he's the only guy on the team that he's the face of the franchise at the current moment, behind obviously besides the quarterback.
So I have him as 8 as well. The Dolphins have the second hardest schedule. The Dolphins, not the position. But he's not someone who's going to come off the field because he's their pass catching guy as well. So if they're losing games, his most productive games are when he's getting 7-8 catches. How many times last year, 2 years ago, we have like 30 yards rushing, but would finish with 80 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So
but let's also not forget, and I agree with you. Let's not forget that this is a new coach.
Right, I know. That's the question mark.
This is a coach that's coming from a Green Bay culture. So I think the Green Bay culture is, even if we're losing and we're going to get, completely blown out, if the defense is shutting down the passing game, the coach is going to say, well, then let's just keep running. Let's just run these plays. I think that's the style of coaching that is in the building at the moment.
All right, I've got one more kind of grouper. We've talked about some of these guys, but I want to bring up the other ones here. Kyron Williams, you mentioned Chase Brown, but I forgot where you had him. Scattaboo, Javonte Williams, and Breece Hall. How high do you have any of those guys here? I've got them from 12 to 18 range.
I'm pretty much I'm a little.
You had Chase Brown
lower.
really high, I thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know I threw that at you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Let's talk about Scattaboo here because he's the interesting one.
Yeah, I got Scattaboo at 17.
Okay.
So he's pretty good there. Chase Brown, I have at 7. So I
Right.
have Chase Brown pretty high up there. But there's nothing else going on in that backfield that is really of a concern for me with Cincinnati. Scadaboo, on the other hand, that's a different story. He's going to be like a co-starter. You got Tyrone Tracy, and then they signed
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. So there's a lot of competition going on there. And can he last the whole season? Is he the next Peyton Hillis? Where
I was thinking of him the other day. Like I think he's a Peyton Hillis, but I think he's gonna last a little longer. Well,
yeah,
be better longer. Yeah.
Reuben Jones and Peyton Hillis. Those were the two backs that were like, oh my gosh, these guys are amazing. And then where are they the next year? Nowhere. So we'll see. I'm a Scadaboo fan. I wish I would have gotten him last year before King George did, but I'm not chasing him this year.
I got Scadaboo at 14 on the top of a
Mhm.
tier here. People are worried about his injury, which I would be as well. But again, that first week of preseason really enlightened me a lot. You could tell not every team did the same system. Some guys played their starters and some guys clearly didn't. But in that, you could find out who the starters were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the starting quarterback didn't play and you saw the wide receiver didn't play and the running back, well, like, well, that's the starting running back if he didn't play. In other games, when they had the starting quarterback out there with that running back, that was a starting running back for that team. And Scadaboo coming off that injury, everyone's like, he might be slowed. He was the starter. He had only three carries for 19 yards. Didn't have enough time to do anything crazy, but 6 yards a carry I'll take. And I think he's the main back. The only thing I'm worried about with the new coaching staff is that he might take him off on third downs. So I think that's the only limiting thing here other than his potential injury risk. But in terms of a depth chart, he's on top, and we saw what he could do last year when he got the rock.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. People like Kyron Williams, people like DeAndre Swift, even don't sleep on Swift, and Travis Etienne, like they're around Scadaboo here, and I might want to start Swift or Kyron Williams above Scadaboo.
All right, guys. Or mostly because we're running a little long here, we're going to wrap this one up. We went through a lot of players. We got some other guys we haven't gotten to yet, but we'll get to them later in the offseason here with our risers and fallers for some of these guys potentially. And our mock draft we'll have in about a week and a half or so. So you'll see where these guys actually go in a industry mock draft that we'll put together for you guys. So with that being said, we got more to come before the season starts. We've got more positional previews, the wide receiver and Bernie's favorite tight ends. We've got draft day strategy, mock drafts, and last minute risers and fallers. Hey guys, I want to thank you all so very much for watching and or listening to another episode of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Hit that follow button and give us a 5-star rating. And don't forget to tell your friends. That's how we get new listeners. And if you can also find us on our YouTube channel if you want to see our graphics here and all of our segment intros there. Some of these are pretty funny, I think. You can go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. When you head over there, guys, do me that favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment, and we'll get you into our next mailbag segment. With that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And remember, confidence and correctness have never once met each other.
Hits and misses. All right, we'll see you next time, guys.